You open your phone to find a number, and there it is, a photo from 7 years ago, maybe a birthday, maybe just a random Tuesday afternoon that somebody thought to capture. You look at it for 2 seconds, three, and then it happens. Something tightens in your chest. Not pain exactly, something stranger, something that has no clean name in English. And before you can explain it, you close the app and move on with your day. But that feeling did not go nowhere. Your body just filed it away. And the question nobody asks is why? Why does a rectangle of light on a screen make your chest physically contract? Why does your body respond to a memory the same way it responds to a threat? The answer reaches back further than photography, further than language, all the way to the earliest wiring of the human mind. There is a word in Portuguese, saudade. It describes a longing for something you love that is gone, a melancholy sweetness, a beautiful ache. The Japanese have mono no aware, the gentle sadness of things passing. The Germans have Sehnsucht, a deep craving for something you cannot name. Cultures separated by oceans and centuries all invented words for the same feeling. That is not a coincidence. That is a signal. That signal is pointing at something ancient inside you. Your brain is not a camera. It does not store memories like files on a hard drive. When you remember something, your brain reconstructs it every single time. Neuroscientist Donna Bridge at Northwestern University found that every time you recall a memory, you slightly alter it, you update it, you color it with who you are right now. So when you look at that old photo, you are not just seeing the past, you are feeling the distance between who you were and who you are. And that distance has a weight. Psychologists call this temporal self-appraisal. Dr. Ann Wilson at Wilfrid Laurier University studied what happens when people reflect on their past selves. She found something remarkable. People consistently feel more warmth toward their past selves the further away that self becomes. The more time has passed, the more you idealize it. The you from 7 years ago feels almost like a different person, someone you miss, someone you can never speak to again. And that quietly is a form of grief. Grief is not only for the dead. Your brain does not distinguish between losing a person and losing a version of time. Both register as loss. Both activate the same neural architecture. The anterior cingulate cortex, the insula, the same regions that process physical pain. This is not metaphor. When you feel that tightening in your chest, looking at an old photo, your brain is running genuine loss processing software, the kind that evolved to help you survive the death of someone important to your tribe. Now think about what your ancestors actually faced, not the tidy grief of a funeral with closure, but the relentless daily disappearance of time. A child who grew up, a season that ended, a face that aged. The world your ancestors lived in was one of constant impermanence, and your brain evolved to track that impermanence, to mark it, to feel it, because the things that mattered most were always in danger of being lost. Food, shelter, the people you depended on. Your nervous system learned to register loss as urgency, and urgency feels like pressure in the chest. But here is the counterintuitive part. That pain you feel looking at old photos is not a malfunction. It is evidence of something functioning exactly as it should. Psychologist Clay Routledge has spent years studying nostalgia, and what he found overturned decades of assumption. For most of the 20th century, psychiatrists classified nostalgia as a disorder, a pathological longing, a sickness. The word itself comes from the Greek nostos, meaning homecoming, and algos, meaning pain. It was coined in 1688 by a Swiss physician named Johannes Hofer to describe soldiers who became physically ill when they were too far from home. He thought it was a disease of the brain. He suggested cannon fire near the soldiers' ears might shock them out of it. He was wrong. Routledge's research found that nostalgia actually increases your sense of meaning in life. It strengthens social connectedness. It makes you feel more optimistic about the future. The ache you feel looking at that old photo is not dragging you backward, it is anchoring you. It is your brain reaching for evidence that your life has had weight, that the time you have spent has mattered, that you have been loved. There is a mechanism behind this that goes even deeper. When you look at a photograph, your brain does something it almost never does with pure imagination. It treats it as real. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio argued that the body and the brain do not fully separate emotion from reality. The image triggers what he called a somatic marker, a body state. Your heart rate shifts, your muscles subtly change tension, your breathing adjusts. The photo is two-dimensional and silent and static, but your body responds as if that moment is actually happening again, as if the people in it are actually in the room. And then it registers they are not. That gap between what your body expects and what is actually true is where the ache lives. Your ancestors had no photographs. For hundreds of thousands of years, memory was the only record of the past. If you forgot a face, that face was gone forever. If you forgot a place, it vanished. Memory was precious in a way that is almost incomprehensible today. And the emotional weight your brain attaches to memory served a function. It kept you connected. It kept you loyal. It kept you motivated to protect and return to the things that mattered. The ache was the anchor. Think about what a photograph actually does to that system. It hands your ancient emotional brain a perfect, frozen version of something it was designed to hold loosely. Memory blurs. Memory softens edges. Memory is supposed to fade so that you can move forward. A photograph does not fade. It stays sharp, it stays exact, and every time you look at it, your brain is confronted with a version of the past that is more vivid than any natural memory. More vivid than you were actually capable of forming at the time. And it knows in the same instant that the moment is completely unreachable. Dr. Konstantin Sedekaitis at the University of Southampton has studied nostalgia across more than a dozen countries and found that it is a universal human experience, not specific to any culture, not generated by any particular belief system. Every human brain, given enough time and loss, learns to ache. It is as hardwired as hunger, as old as attachment. Because for most of human history, remembering where you came from was a survival skill. You needed to know your tribe, your territory, your people, the ones who would help you when the season turned cold. Losing track of that was not just sad, it was dangerous. That photo on your phone contains all of that ancient machinery, the people in it, the version of yourself standing inside that frozen moment, the feeling of being somewhere specific, someone specific. Your brain does not see a file. It sees a piece of your tribe, a piece of your territory, a piece of the self it spent years building. And the ache you feel is your nervous system quietly cataloging what has changed, what has moved on, what can never be exactly like that again. There is one more layer to this, and it is the strangest one. The things that ache the most are rarely the extraordinary moments. Research by Erica Hepper at the University of Surrey found that the most nostalgic memories are overwhelmingly ordinary. A kitchen that smelled a certain way, a car journey at dusk, a face across a table, not the graduation, not the wedding, the Tuesday afternoon, the unremarkable Wednesday, the moments that felt like nothing at the time because you were busy living them. And that is the cruelest irony your brain produces. The moments that will ache the most are the ones happening right now, and you are almost certainly not noticing them. That tightening in your chest is not about the past. It never was. It is your brain trying to tell you something about the present, that what is ordinary right now will become irreplaceable, that the people around you today will one day be the faces in photographs. That the life you are living in this moment is quietly, invisibly accumulating into the very thing you will one day ache for. So, next time you feel that strange pressure in your chest when an old photo catches you off guard, do not scroll past it. Your body is not malfunctioning. It is doing exactly what it was built to do across hundreds of thousands of years of human experience. It is marking time. It is measuring love. It is reminding you that you were here, that you were present, that you belonged somewhere. And right now, in this moment, you are barely noticing you still do. You opened your phone to find a number, and there it was, a photo from 7 years ago. And what you felt in your chest was not sadness, it was proof.